Good afternoon, Nova Nation. It's WXVU Sports Director David Szczepanski coming to you from the Finneran Pavilion. Such a beautiful day outside today. I'm recording this on a Sunday. I believe it's 65 degrees right now. It's beautiful. Don't even have to wear a coat right now. Really feels like early spring instead of early winter. But a great day to talk about Villanova men's basketball, as this is your preview for Villanova versus Butler on January the 1st, New Year's Day, 6:30 p.m. Villanova and Butler tipping off at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And this is a game that the Wildcats really would love to win, especially after a 7-point loss to Creighton before the holiday break. Villanova entering this contest 8-5 overall. They had their 5-game winning streak snapped in Omaha, Nebraska. They are 1-1 in conference play. Of course, they started off their conference play with a win here against Seton Hall, and then, of course, losing to Creighton in Omaha, Nebraska before the holiday break, before Christmas. But Villanova, they're playing pretty good basketball right now. I mean, their offense is still moving at a really high level, right? You look at Eric Dixon still leading the country in scoring with over 25, almost 26 points per game. Jameer Brickus, Poplar have also played really well for the Wildcats recently. But Villanova really struggled, as I talked about it in my recap a few days ago. You can find that on my social media. Was Villanova's defense really struggled, especially their perimeter defense or three-point defense. And they're going to have a tough time, I think, against Butler on January 1st if they cannot fix their perimeter and their three-point defense, because Butler shoots really well from behind the arc, 39% as a team. Patrick McCaffrey, who's a transfer from Iowa, brings a lot of experience over to this team for Butler. He's their best three-point shooter. He's shooting almost 45, 46% from behind the arc this season. So he can really knock down shots from the perimeter, from behind the arc, and they have to be ready for McCaffrey, who's also averaging around 13 points per contest for the Butler Bulldogs. And also, of course, Jamil Telfort comes back for this team, as well as Pierre Brooks II. Both of those guys averaging more than around 15 points per game. Telfort, of course, was one of their leading scorers last season. This is his second season with Butler. So they're really building something with Butler. They play a really good brand of basketball. They play competitively. Their offense is averaging around 73 points per game this season. Their defense allows about 69 points per game, which is not terrible by any means, but they really have a hard time at forcing turnovers, and their defense will struggle at times. They are 7-6 overall this season, so not the best overall record, but when you really look at their schedule and their resume, they have played some really tough teams. They have 2 really good wins, quad 1 wins against SMU as well as against Mississippi State, a top 25 team in the country. They were ranked 25th when they played Butler. I believe right now they are ranked 19th in Mississippi State, but they start out the conference schedule with 2 really tough games against Marquette and UConn. Both losses for Butler. They lost to Marquette by 10, but then they lost to UConn by just 4 before the holiday break. So they are definitely a competitive team. Their offense will score points and definitely keep the games close. Some other stats here: rebounding, they average about 36 rebounds, almost 36 rebounds per contest, so they can do a pretty good job at rebounding the basketball. That should be a battle to watch. They shoot 45% from the field, as I said earlier. McCaffrey shooting 46% from behind the arc as a team. They shoot 39% from 3, so they definitely can shoot the ball from behind the arc, and that's definitely concerning, right? Coming off a game where Villanova really struggled against Creighton. Creighton shot around 55% from behind the arc against Villanova and the Wildcats on that Saturday in Omaha, Nebraska. So Villanova has to be ready, and you would think the game plan for Butler is just to shoot as many threes as possible, especially if Villanova's perimeter defense in transition cannot get back in time. So that'll be really the big battle to watch. The rebounding is always going to be, a really great battle that you want to keep an eye on, just because of how good Eric Dixon and Enoch Bawachi have been this season, but also Poplar leading the team in rebounding. So that will be a battle to watch. But I also think, too, right, is how can Eric Dixon get going in this game for the Wildcats? When Dixon performs well, so do the Wildcats. And he had 27 points against Creighton in Omaha. And Villanova had some depth scoring. Their defense just couldn't hold on. So you always look to Eric Dixon. I mean, as I said before, he's so reliable. He always scores points, but you always want to see how he matches up against Butler. As I said, a pretty good team offensively. They have some guys that can score, especially from behind the arc. So it should be a fun one. Villanova versus Butler, Bulldogs versus Wildcats on January 1st to start 2025, 6:30 p.m. from Hinkle Fieldhouse, a place that has not been kind to Villanova over the years, so hopefully they can snap that and get a win and improve to 2-1 and 9-5 overall. Again, don't let Butler's record fool you. They are 7-6 overall, but have played really tough games this season. They're 0-2 in conference play, but almost beat UConn. They lost by just 4 in their most recent game against the holiday break. 3 scorers scoring more than 10 points per game. They can shoot the ball really well from behind the arc. That concerns me with Villanova's perimeter defense. Have a great rest of your day, Nova Nation. I'll have more content on my social media. Villanova and Butler on January 1st. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cats!